and some of you here may know more about me than you realize. But for those of you who don't, I will bring you up to speed. I have an uncommon story, or so society seems to think. But in all reality, my story is similar to hundreds and probably even thousands of other people's. My story is uncommon because it doesn't fit the picture you see in your head when you think of sexual assault. It wasn't scary, and I was never physically hurt. At this point, you might be wondering, why is this woman even here? I'm here because I fall into the underrepresented category of victims who are coerced and manipulated, but never physically forced. I am a survivor of teacher sexual abuse. When I was in high school, I became very close with one of the popular teachers. He reached out to me during my first year and paid more attention to me than other students. I thought we were just friends and that I could confide in him. He was so well liked for this reason alone, it seemed he could do no wrong. This relationship only got stronger as I progressed through high school, until my senior year when my favorite teacher started texting me during Christmas break. Shortly after, he admitted to having feelings for me, and from there my life turned into something I wouldn't wish upon anyone. My world revolved around him. I was the marionette and he was the puppet master. He slowly took me away from my friends and my family to ensure our secret love affair was well hidden. After a few months, it ended when his wife intercepted a text from me and he promptly ended our relationship. I was devastated. I had not the slightest clue that the past few months had all been a game for him. I had no idea I was being used, until one day I finally did. I spent 5 years trapped inside the deepest and darkest parts of me. I relived my experience multiple times a day. I would have terrible flashbacks, nightmares, and other post-traumatic symptoms, and still I spent much of that time believing this was all a fairy tale love story. Looking back now, I realize I was in a lot of denial, mainly because the alternative was much, much worse. The alternative was to accept the reality, which was that I was manipulated and used and betrayed and a victim. I hated that idea. I refused to believe that I was a victim because that was more heartbreaking to me than the fact that I had been led to believe he would love me forever. I even had 2 amazing best friends that tried so hard to pull me out of this, but it was a losing battle because I wasn't able to accept what had really happened to me yet. However, when I finally realized that I needed to report what had happened to me, both my friends had the same response. Thank God, it's about time. And they were right, it was about time. It was time for me to start taking my life back and actually living it, rather than being a shell of a person. I reported my sexual abuse in February of 2014, and many of you may have even followed the trial in the media during April of 2015. That was the hardest experience of my entire life, especially because I didn't receive the legal justice that every one of us deserves, and only few of us receive. However, I want you all to know that I don't regret any of it. That experience, although at times was extremely agonizing, was also the most empowering experience of my life. I got to tell my story and know that no matter what the outcome was, I did everything I could. Because of that alone, my abuser did not win. Knodel, former North Dakota Teacher of the Year, you didn't win. I know that not everyone has the strength or even the desire to report their abuse, but I want everyone to know that it is so worth it. Even if nothing comes from it, you can look back and know that you spoke your truth and did your part to hopefully prevent it from happening again. Lastly, I want you all to know that after many years of hard work and healing, I am happy and well. It didn't come fast and it didn't come easy, but it is possible for every one of you. Don't lose hope. We will survive.